What's up guys, it's your host Spartanic Arts DxD back with another high school DxD related video. And today we have What If Issei Went Solo. Let's try to hit 600 likes, and if you guys want to know exactly when I upload schedule, just click the little blue button right next to the subscribe button. Issei has been suffering for 19 years straight until he snaps. From weakest to badass, what if Issei left Rias' Parage and went solo? Hopefully you guys do enjoy this story. It's so good. Please stay tuned for the whole chapters. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Issei always felt like a burden, felt weak. He felt that every day since his parents were murdered. No one found the killer and did what he needed to do when it came to surviving in the streets. But how long can a mere 14-year-old boy last all alone? Eventually, he was caught stealing food for the last time, and the townspeople were chasing Issei through the forest near to the town and eventually caught him. They beat him half to death and left him on the forest floor. The crowd left except for one woman who stayed. Issei opened his eyes and saw the old woman smirking and pleaded for help. "Please help me," Issei said. The woman looked at him and showed an evil grin. "Now why would I help you after I toyed with you?" the woman said. Issei retorted weakly. What do you mean?" Issei replied. That's when he saw the old woman change her appearance to a young girl around 20 years old with pink eyes and long black hair, with a seductive body. But what caught Issei's attention was the pair of black feathered wings sprouting from her back. "Who the hell are you? And what are you doing toying with me?" Issei said. "Well, since you're about to die, it doesn't really matter. My name is not important. I am a fallen angel, and you are dead." Wait, Issei said. Before Issei could say anything, the woman picked him up from his neck while choking him and stabbed him in the chest with a light spear. Issei couldn't even scream from the intense pain. He didn't have any energy to move. She twisted the spear a bit, and Issei coughed up some blood after he dropped him from leaving him to die. She flew away, laughing at her prey she killed in cold blood. Issei lay there bleeding from his chest and wound saw the spear disappear into thin air, but you see the fragments of the spear in his chest wound. He was losing blood and dying, and closed his eyes and accepting his death while thinking about how he ended up here. From being in an orphanage to be put in a shitty foster homes only to be mistreated and forced to run away. Issei thinks in his head, "So this is really it, huh? My life really was a waste." Just before Issei welcomed death, he heard a voice of a woman and opened his eyes with very little energy. He had left and saw the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. A woman around his age with beautiful blue eyes and long crimson hair, with a body most women would have to kill. "So you're the one, huh? My name is Rias Grimmery, and now you're all mine." She pulled out 8 pawn pieces and merged them with Issei. He felt life return to his body, but still unable to move it, but it was short-lived until he felt his chest wound burning, and the pain was far worse than before. So much it paralyzed him, and he couldn't even flinch. He passed out from the pain. Later he woke up in the bed and remembered everything that happened. He checked his chest wound, and it was gone, but it had a massive scar that burned when he touched it. It was literal painful reminder. Rias Grimmery came along with 3 other ladies and 1 guy. The woman with long black hair and pink eyes is Akano. The short-haired girl with blonde hair and green eyes is Asia. The other girl with short white hair and golden eyes is Konako. The handsome blonde guy is Kiba. This is where his suffering will begin now. Chapter 2. The Full 180. Issei was grateful that he was alive, but soon came to resent his rebirth, because he was now a devil and was forced to become a pawn or a slave in simpler terms. As time passed, Issei was forced to fight again and again for 5 years. In those 5 years, he unlocked his sacred gear, a small red gauntlet that doubles his power, and that's why he was Rias Grimmery's pawn. She and her Parage all used him as a meat shield and as a punching bag, even the ability to double his power. It barely made a difference since he was always weak no matter how hard he tried. He endured abuse from his master, was a victim of Akano's sadistic games, who turned out to be half-fallen angel. Kiba didn't care for him, or nor did Konako. Ozzy was there to heal him using her sacred gear Twilight Healing, but that was the closest thing to love he got from them, even though he knew that Ozzy was healing him because she had to. Even after all the shit he was going through, he still helped his team emotionally because he wasn't like them. Issei helped Kiba find the guy who killed his childhood friends during the Holy Sword Project, save Asia from a low-class straight devil named Dodoria, and helped Akano except her fallen angel side, which she hated as her mother murdered for giving birth to her and being intimate with a fallen angel. All of them to attend Co-Academy as a second and third year students. Everyone was basically worshipped. Rias and Akano were loved by all the students and teachers. The girls looked at Kiba as if he was a rich, good-looking celebrity. Konako was the adorable little mascot of the school, while Azia was like the little sister you would die for. Issei, however, was never once to receive any kind of treatment from his so-called friends. Two guys who were in the school perverts saw Issei as the scapegoat. They would go hang out with him only to hide their porn magazines in his bag or drag him to peep on girls and leave him to get beaten by all the girls since he wasn't that fast. He begged for the girls to let him explain, but they refused and made him suffer. After his new reputation as a third pervert, even Azia didn't bother healing his bruises or cuts. One day, they ordered the Devil King Sir Zex, whom Issei saw as a big brother, by the way, to kill a stray devil. As Rias and her Parage went to the warehouse where the stray was last reported, "Hey, stray shit, come out," Rias says. Being taunted by Rias, the stray devil came out of the shadows and had the appearance of half man, half horse, with a very strong reptile-like tail and two horns. It charged at Rias. Kiba intercepted with his speed, but it couldn't cut through the tuft of the stray deep enough to only minor cuts very visible. Kiba made one cut after another until the stray was red all over, losing blood quickly. Kiba eventually got hit by the stray's tail and was tossed through a wall and knocked out. Konako attacked with brute force, being a rook, and Akano used her fallen angel lightning to critically injure it. It worked as they all used up their strength since they saw it was stronger than it looked. Azia stayed hidden, and Issei felt like he couldn't fight that thing since it took out the others. Ria stepped forward and used her power of destruction to erase the stray from existence. She toyed with it, shredded its left leg, and let it bleed to death as it lay there barely breathing. Everyone thinking that it's done for good, they came forward and stood next to it. Azia was busy healing Kiba, who woke up while Rias talked to the stray. "You put up a good fight. Any last words?" Rias said. The stray looked at Rias with anger and decided to play the helpless victim role. "Yes, I do. Please hear me out." Everyone looked at the stray directly and didn't notice the tail slowly extending towards Rias. "Spit it out already." "Die, bitch," said the stray. Rias noticed his tail was about behind her and coming it down at full speed. If Kiba couldn't dodge it, how could she? She prepared for the impact but felt a push instead and saw Issei push her out of the way, only to end up taking the hit head on and hitting the ground motionlessly. Issei took the chance to kill the stray before it had another chance to strike again. Issei was immediately taken to the underworld hospital and the doctors said he's in a coma. 1 week has passed and Issei was still in a coma. His master and his Parage would come to check on him only because they were required to. One day, Rias and the others were sitting in Issei's room just looking at him with the content then just leave. Issei was physically present, but his mind was somewhere else entirely. In his dreamscape, there was nothing but a darkness until Issei heard a voice. "How long are you going to be like this?" the voice says. "Huh? Who's there?" Issei replied. As soon as Issei asked, a large red dragon with green eyes appeared from the darkness and flames surrounded them both. "A dragon? I am Drake, the Red Dragon Emperor. You are my host." "Your host?" Issei said. "It's about time we talked. I tried talking to you, but you could never hear me. Perhaps it was because you were not strong enough," Drake said. Yeah, I know. I'm weak. Anything else?" Issei said. Issei had a defeated look on his face, and it angered Drake. "Wipe that damn look off your face. You are the host of the Welsh Dragon Drake, and I refuse to let this happen when I can change it." "And what can you do that I haven't already tried? I trained again and again and fought constant battles, yet I barely ever get stronger with my sacred gear, so tell me, what can you possibly do?" Issei said. "I'll show you the truth that you have denied all these years." "What truth?" "That you've accepted your shitty life and refused to do anything about it. You have rage inside of you that rivals a dragon's rage, and that's saying something. You've never shed a tear fearing that you'd be mocked before. Your so-called master and comrades talk shit behind your back and put you through torment while laboring it as endurance training. Think back, boy. You don't have to fight because you're afraid that you will become like them, a monster who preys on others. Well, guess what, that boy? It's about time you did. Give them a taste. No, a full course of their own medicine." "How? I'm fucking too weak," Issei said. "That's why I'm here. I'll help you since we're partners," Drake said. Issei just stood there in silence. Use it, boy. The rage, the burning dragon's rag, and hold nothing back. Don't worry about becoming a stray. I'll help you with that. Now wake up and cut loose. Issei wakes up and immediately anyone that can tell that his dull brown eyes are no more. They had anger in them, and a small gauntlet on his arm morphed into a full red dragon arm-like gauntlet with 2 golden spikes, protruding from his elbow and sharp claws. Issei got up from the bed and noticed that his body wasn't so skinny or weak anymore. Power flowed through it like his physique looked like he started working out a little bit. Issei created a magic portal and went to his apartment in Ko Town. 10 minutes later, a nurse noticed that Issei was gone and alerted Rias, who was in the hospital cafeteria. He's gone? Well, won't worry. We will find him, so we don't need for the hospital or any authorities to get involved. He's my pawn, so I'll handle it. As you wish, Lady Gremory, the nurse replies. And that is the end of Chapter 2, a full 180. Chapter 3, Confrontation. Rias tracks Issei's pawn pieces and is surprised to see that he went to Ko by himself. His magic was too weak to do that. Rias sends Akano, Konako, and Ozzy to check on him since Kiba went to fulfill a client's contract. They arrive at his apartment and bust right in. Issei, where are you? Akano says. Akano demanded. Issei came out of his room and into the living room, where the 3 arrived. Ever heard of knocking? Issei said. Issei never talked back before, fearing more pain, but his tone implied that he no longer cares. This angered Akano. How dare you talk to me like that, Akano said. Akano shot her lightning at Issei, and he dodged it with ease. Konako tried close combat and went in straight for a kick, but Issei caught her leg and then tossed her out through the open door and hit a lamppost, bending it. Ozzy is stunned from what just occurred. Akano is tending to Konako, who wasn't hurt due to her strength and defense as a rook. As she gained her bearings and she looked at the bent lamppost, the shock on Akano's face and Ozzy's face, including the raging glare, she was getting Issei. So much that it was her unusual stoic self to show genuine fear. That glare showed to her the Issei they all knew was not him. This Issei is someone or something else entirely. Issei then spoke. I'll say this once. Leave, Issei said. This message was followed by a growl that sent a chill down their spines. The 3 immediately told Rias what happened. Rias ordered the 3 to go home and she will handle him. Rias shows up at Issei's door and knocks. Issei opens the door. What do you want? Issei said. Is that any way to talk to your master? Rias replied. Like a fuck to give, so answer my question or just leave, Issei said. The anger rose in his voice, and it honestly scared her. Can we talk inside? Rias said. Grunts, but lets her in and closes the door right after her, Issei says. So start talking, Rias. That's the first time you ever called me by my name in 4 years. It's always been Lady Gremory, or just plain Master, Rias said. Issei gives her a quick glare. Right. I'm about to hear what happened with Akano and Konako. What about it? It was self-defense. How so? They attacked me first. I retaliated. Bullshit. You would never raise your hand or even talk back to us, and now you're acting like this? What the hell happened to you? Rias said. I just got sick of the bullshit of being your pawn in a meat shield for 5 fucking years. You didn't think I'd noticed I was being used by you or your Parage after I tried so hard to show that I cared for you guys? You could all go to fucking hell for all I care. Rias got angry too, and quickly to control herself. After everything I did for you, this is how you thank me? I never ever wanted you. After I saw that your sacred gear was just double critical, I used all 8 of my pawn pieces on you just because I had hoped that it was something useful. I would have let that fallen angel kill you, Rias said. Rias then covered her mouth after letting the truth roll right off her tongue. Issei widened his eyes from the info, but then closed them halfway and smirked. See, you admit that you never saved me because you cared. You knew that I was being targeted, and yet you let her kill me. Selfish and pathetic, just like your fiancé, Riser. Excuse you? Oh, wait. You don't know? Issei said. Know what? Talk, Rias said. Her power was flaring, but Issei just laughed. You seriously don't know that Riser's cheating on you? Well, better late than never, Issei said. He would never. Oh, but Rias. He is, and is likely doing it as we speak, Issei replied. How do you know this? Rias said. I saw him and the other woman plenty of times. See for yourself if you don't believe me. Clearly you don't know all about real love at all, Issei said. Oh, like a weakling like you does, huh? Rias replied. More than you, since I was the one who used to love you. You loved me? At first, I risked my life again and again. Last week was no exception. I was in a coma for a week, but for taking a hit, but not anymore. I'm not going to risk my life anymore. Not have until I'm free from being your pawn. Rias then said that would destroy any chance she would have with him. You know what? You never had my love. Riser's the only one for me, Rias said. If you say so, Red. But don't come crying to me when you see the truth. Now, if we're done, leave, bitch. And that is the end of Chapter 3, Confrontation. Chapter 4, Exposed. Rias just storms out the door and goes straight to the underworld, fearing Issei's words might hold the truth. She arrived at Riser's house and is greeted by a younger sister, Ravel, a cute girl with blonde hair curled into a drill-like style. Ravel takes Rias to Riser's room and leaves knowing this was a personal visit from the expression on Rias' face. Rias opens the door and her eyes widen. There was Riser in bed with a random woman. Riser notices Rias and panicked. Rias baby, it's not what it looks like, Riser says. The woman freaked out and ran out the door after perking up her clothes. Rias, it's not what you think. I was just testing her physical abilities. She wants to be a phoenix like I am, Riser said. Rias slaps Riser hard. She then started to shed tears. He was right. You're a lying piece of flaming shit. Wait, who was? Riser said. Riser asked, demanding to know who ruined his fun. I did, you piece of shit, Issei said. Issei appeared, and Rias immediately hugged him. Issei, you were right. I'm so sorry for hurting you. Rias suddenly kissed Issei, then Issei pushed her off. Don't you dare try that again. Got it? Issei said. Issei gave her one and only warning. Issei? Rias replied. Just because he hurt you doesn't mean that I'm one you can cry to, Issei said. Rias began to cry as the weight of her betrayal of her lover make her rethink her life choices. Her fiancé cheated and didn't give two shits about her since she was far too in love with him, and it dawned on her. That's what Issei went through, and it was only made worse by her and her barrage for years. Issei did more for her than her team than anyone else has, and now he doesn't give a rat's ass if they live or die. Rias became so desperate, tried to use her status as Issei's master to make him love her. Issei, I'm your master and you belong to me, heart, body, and soul, Rias said. Rias placed her hand on his chest, a truly pathetic display. Issei grabbed her hand and removed it and then said, My heart no longer beats for you, master. I don't know your so-called love, pathetically enough to deal with the mountainside bullshit that comes with it, Issei said. Rias just froze and her eyes went completely blank. Drake mentally commented to Issei, damn, that is so cold. Riser had enough of being ignored. How dare you ignore me, you low-class pawn! Riser tried to punch Issei but was struck by a large red metal whip and was sent flying back to the wall. Riser got up and looked at what hit him. He and Rias were left wide-eyed when they saw that a red metal whip was a tail-like appendage attached to Issei's back. Issei? What is that? And when did you get strong enough to send a high-class devil flying? Rias said. Doesn't matter. I'm out of here. Issei teleported, leaving Rias alone with Riser. How dare he attack me? Riser said. Rias just walked up to him and slapped him again after leaving a nice clean cut. I never want to see you again, you lying shit, Rias said. Riser's parents showed up wondering what was the cause of the small shockwave that went through the walls. Rias told them what happened and were disgusted by Riser and arranged a meeting with Sir Zex in 2 days' time at Co Academy. The following were asked to attend. Riser, his parents and his Parage including Ravel, Rias and her Parage, Sir Zex and his wife Grafia. There was tension in the room. Everyone was quiet for the first few moments. Rias stood on one side with her Parage except for Issei. He stood by the window alone and just kept his eyes glued to view out the side as to avoid eye contact with anyone. Riser's parents looked at Riser with anger and worry, fearing that Sir Zex, the Devil King, might erase them from existence for cheating on Rias. Azia, Konako, and Kiba and Akano all stood in quietly after finding out what happened through Rias. Rias didn't lie to them or Sir Zex since enough damage was done. Sir Zex broke the silence and finally said, Thank you all for coming. Let's all forget the pleasantries and get to the point. As we all know, what Riser has been found guilty of cheating on Rias, which is against our laws and moral code. There are a few eyewitnesses, and myself have confirmed that they are all told the truth. Riser also attacked my sister's pawn Issei when he exposed Riser's action. The public sees both Rias and Riser as a perfect couple, and do not know of what has happened yet. Any last words? Any words from the head of the Phoenix clan? Riser's father spoke up. My king and my lady Rias, we truly meant it. We truly mean it when we say that we are sorry for what our son did. It was a despicable act and we beg for your forgiveness, but please do not break off your engagement. Rias looked at them with shock, thinking how could they ask her not to break it off? How could I not leave him after this? He cheated on me with the whole time we were together. He'll continue to do it even if we're married, Rias said. Riser's mother spoke up. We know that you hate us for asking, but there are so few pure-blood devils with strengths like yours and Riser's nowadays. So I'm just a breeding tool? That's not what we meant. Oh, just end it already, Issei said. Everybody looks at Issei and turns to him. How can you not see that it'll end up the worst case scenario down the line? So if Rias does get married, she'll be bound to that narcissistic fried chicken and have kids with someone she clearly doesn't love and will either run away or kill herself. All while she's going out there, anything he wants to just save those poor kids from being born into a messed up life like they had no choice. Issei, Rias said. Everyone just looks at him because he voiced what everyone was thinking. Riser got mad at Issei for disrespecting him yet again in front of the Devil King Serzex, no less. You have disrespected me for the last time, boy, Riser said. Riser and all of the women Parage prepared to attack Issei except for Ravel. Serzex and his wife, Queen Grafia, flared their powerful auras and made Riser, along with his Parage fees in their place from fear. Their auras combined felt like a death was upon them. That's enough out of you, Riser. If I wasn't the Devil King then, I would have taught you a lesson myself, but luckily the stars that I restrained myself, Serzex. Yes, my king, I apologize, Riser said. So how do we resolve this issue, Gravia said. Everyone began to think until Issei said, how about an unofficial rating game? A small private match. No one will bother us, and the winning team decides on the next course of action, Issei said. I agree. Riser, I challenge you to a rating game. Right here and right now, Rias said. Ha! You can't be serious. I won 7 official rating games and I have a full team. You only have 1 knight, 1 rook, 1 bishop, and your queen and 1 weak pawn. This weak pawn sent you flying, Issei said. A low-class devil teaching a phoenix how to fly. Oof, Drake said in his head. Everyone laughed under their breath. Looks like the phoenix got burned, Rias said. Fine, I accept your challenge, Riser said. Rias, you should think this through. Riser has a large advantage. Take some time to train and plan, Serzex said. No need. We are more than capable of handling them, Rias said. So what are the terms? Riser replied. If we win, the engagement is off, Rias said. And if you lose, Rias didn't finish. You can have me. I'll join the Phoenix clan, and you can marry Rias, Issei said. Everyone's jaws hit the floor. Issei, have you lost your mind? Rias said. Pretty much. But I know what I'm doing. You'll join us? And what can you offer, huh? Riser said. If you can beat me, then I can assure you won't be disappointed. Being a phoenix doesn't sound so bad, to be honest, Issei said. You're willing to leave us? Ozzy replied. Oh, fuck the hell yes I am. At least Riser isn't abusive like you and actually cared for his Parage, Issei replied. Everyone surprised at his words. Serzex, Grafia, and Riser's parents all look at Rias and her team. Neither her or her team made eye contact with anyone. Riser was happy to see that he hated her more than him. Ha! I'm almost starting to like you. Alright, then I accept your terms. Shall we begin? Riser said. Serzex sighs and Grafia teleports them both teams to a small field, while Serzex and Riser's parents watch through the screens from spectators' booth. The field has large boulders and trees that can be used as cover. Some plants, ferns, and mushrooms were growing too. Each team has 10 minutes to plan. Your time starts now. Rias looks towards Issei. Issei, why did you offer yourself to him? I have my reasons, Issei said. Care to at least share that with us? No. Now, just focus on the match. He's a phoenix, remember? Issei replied. Everyone went quiet and began to plan. Clearly he didn't want to talk to them. After 5 minutes, Rias had a plan. Akeno, you can handle his queen. Her explosion magic is too strong, but you're the only one who can handle her. Use your holy lightning. Konako can handle the rooks. They, like their master, are too arrogant to make them train, making them easy targets. Same with the push-ups. Kiba, I want you to set a trap for his 2 knights. Azu, we need you to heal any injuries. And Issei looks at her. Think you can handle the pawns? You can promote, but so can they, Rias replied. I can handle it. Then I'll fight Riser, Rias said. Just keep him busy long enough for me to get there after I'm done, Issei said. Issei, we noticed that you're a lot stronger, and you have a few days ago, but to fight Riser alone, he can regenerate. It's a signature ability of the Phoenix clan, Kiba says. That's not going to help him. What do you mean? Azu said. You'll see. He has a crazy grin on his face and sent shivers up their spine. And that is the end of Chapter 4, Exposed. Chapter 5, The Unofficial Rating Game. The match was underway. Kiba used his speed and the tree as camouflage and set up traps. Konako and Akeno moved forward and waited for Riser to make the first move because due to inexperience, they dared not try. Seconds later, 2 knights from Riser's team came in head-on with malicious grins, but didn't notice the traps. They triggered and pitfalls fell in and followed by large boulders being pushed in by Konako, not before Kiba fought them to divert their attention from the traps and fell for them. Both Riser's knights retired, Gravius said. 2 push-ups and 4 pawns came in next. 1 pawn held a staff. One was a fist fighter while the other 2 carried chainsaws. Konako shattered the ground with the rook strength, and Kiba used his sacred gear sword to birth to create multiple swords from the ground. Without any proper balance, both push-ups and 3 pawns were impaled. Riser's 2 push-ups and 3 pawns retired, Gravius said. The 4th pawn used her staff to push herself away and promoted to rook. She and Konako were in close combat, none having the upper hand during their 7-minute fight, but fatigue started to set in. Konako barely managed to dodge the critical hit from the staff, but took the chance to break it. She then punched Riser's pawn in the gut and sent her flying through the trees. Riser's 4th pawn retired. Kiba already tired from digging the traps, and Konako wasn't doing too well either, but could still fight. As soon as she caught her the second wind, she was hit with an explosive spell and hit the boulder nearby. Konako looked up and saw Riser's queen, aka the Bomb Queen. Konako was no match for her, and prepared to get blasted again until she heard the lightning strike. Akeno flew up and challenged the Bomb Queen one-on-one fight. The 2 queens attacked each other relentlessly with lightning and bomb magic. Both were injured in pain and nearly made them pass out. Then Akeno was enveloped by a green light and her injuries were healing. What the? How are you healing yourselves? Bomb Queen replied. I'm not. Our Bush-Up is our healer. You guys have Phoenix Tears, we have her, Akeno replied. The Bomb Queen looked towards Azu standing next to Rias. She notices her sacred gear rings on her finger. This infuriated her that she was distraction Akeno needed. She used her holy lightning to max and struck down the Bomb Queen. Riser's queen retired. Only Riser and his 4 pawns remained. Rias calls her team through a communication circle and orders them to regroup. Back to base, everyone. Take a small break and recover. We can still win this. Everyone except Issei returns to Rias. Alright, so now only 4 pawns remain. Wait, where's Issei? Riser's last 4 pawns retire. What the? Team Rias in surprise. Issei returns to base a minute later with his hands covered in blood. The others just look at him in awe. Issei, is that blood? Kiba said. Nope. I just took out the last 4 pawns while Riser was busy looking at you guys fight. He nor his pawns noticed me after I sped by and I beat them with a hint of blood, Issei said. But how did you beat them? Just drawing blood from punching them isn't enough to stop them? Akeno said. There were a few poisonous plants here. I used the shards of wood to prick their skin and waited for the poison to take effect. The poison will paralyze them for a while, but it won't kill them. They'll be fine, Issei said. That's a really good plan. Nice work, Rias said. I don't need you to tell me that, Issei said. He glares at her. Rias could have sworn that his eyes almost turned green for a split second. Just then Riser appeared in the middle of the field and called them out. Rias, this has gone on long enough. I invite you and your team to fight me, Riser said. Rias and the others looked at her and nodded in agreement. They made their way to Riser. Glad you came, Riser said. Oh, shut it, Riser. We beat your whole barrage and still have all our members. You can't win, Rias said. Ha! People think I'm arrogant. I told my team to take it easy on you and let your guard down. I wanted to take the fun of taking you and your whole team down all by my own, just to teach you a lesson, Riser said. Why would you do that? Rias said. Because look at your team. Not only do you lack members, but they were barely ready to fight. Just look into their eyes. They are distraught, but I commend you from taking out my team in your current state, Riser said. Rias looks at her team and notices that Kiba, Akano, Konoko, and Azia were distraught as if the weight of the world was on their shoulders. You should have taken some time to train and compose yourself, I said. Like I said, Riser said. I hate to admit it, but you're right. So I'll take you on alone. Her team immediately refused. Like hell you will. We fight together. Kiba and Azia. Yeah! Issei just replied. Rias notices that Issei didn't bat an eye or even look at her. He just sat on a rock. Rias was hurt after Issei told her that he doesn't care about her or the team and won't help her now that he was proving it. Her heart shattered. I'm sorry, everyone. I was impatient and dragged you all into this. I'll fight him alone, and that's an order from your king. Everyone except Issei were about to refuse, but Rias made them stay. Rias walked up to Riser and wasted no time attacking. She hit Riser with her power of destruction, not even holding back, but Riser's regenerated his injuries every time. Rias erased his limbs, his organs, and even his head, but Rias regenerated those too. But Riser regenerated those too. If blasting his head off won't kill him, then what will? Rias was completely drained and fell on her knees. Are you done soon? Riser said. Rias was just getting hit by realization. She and her whole time were on the edge of giving up. But she couldn't give up. If she gave up, then she'll lose Issei. She wanted to make things right with him, and now her team was too tired to fight a guy who was basically immune to all of her attacks. Just give up, Rias. You can't win, Riser said. Rias was on the verge of tears in a hopeless situation. She was a horrible master and hurt them, and she was forced to marry Riser. Karma is a bitch. Issei got up and walked towards Rias. Looks like I'm up. Why don't you go back to the others and let me handle it, Issei said. Rias snaps out of her pathetic state and just looks at Issei. He can regenerate. How can you beat him? Rias said. That's what I'm relying on. Wait, what? You heard me now. Now go back and let me end this, Issei said. About time you stepped up. That raging look in your eyes has me all fired up. So much I might actually end up killing you, Riser said. You won't get the chance, Issei replied. And that's the end of Chapter 5, the unofficial rating game. And that is where we're going to leave off for part 1 of What If Issei Went Solo. Now, I know exactly he hasn't gone solo or rogue yet, whatever you want to call it, okay, but he will eventually, I promise you that. This story is absolutely amazing. I really hope you guys are enjoying it so far. It's seriously so good. It's called The Fallen Dragon King. All credits to the author down in the description below. Of course, I'm just the narrator. I fix some dialogue here and there, and that's why I mess up sometimes, because I get confused reading it sometimes. But thank you guys all for support. Let's try to hit 600 likes, as I said. Okay, again, the support on my channel has been absolutely fucking crazy. If you guys want to know exactly when I upload, join the little blue membership button, little blue button right next to the subscribe button. And thank you guys all for your support. You know, it'd be amazing if we hit like even 1,000 likes on this video. That'd be fucking crazy, because this series is gonna go hard. I don't even know how to tell you, but thank you guys again. I don't know how many times I gotta say it. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for all the likes. Thanks for all the subs. I appreciate y'all, man. Without further ado, Spartanic Arts DxD out.